everyone, and welcome back to Into the Vortex. This is our second episode, and today we are going to talk to Gretchen about her journey to spirituality and things that have kind of come up in the road and sort of challenged beliefs and things like that. Pretty much what we did last week, but this time it's Gretchen's turn. So,
hi everyone, welcome to Into the Vortex. Let's do this.
Yes. So, where did your relationship with spirituality begin? Sort of as a child, into your teens, what was your spiritual belief system?
Yeah, I think, my family's got an interesting history actually. Most of my family are still in the exclusive Brethren.
Wow.
Yeah, so my parents were both brought up in the Brethren, and luckily they left after my oldest brother was born. So I wasn't born into the religion.
Oh, right.
So I don't know, New Zealanders don't know that much about the Brethren except for maybe what they've seen on TV. I think they've made the odd documentary about it, but it's an extremely strict religion, and they live sort of separately to the world.
Yeah.
So, my parents were brought up with a really strict set of Christian beliefs, and they went after they left, they went into the world with those beliefs that were suddenly really challenged, and then they sort of went their own way, really, and joined an Anglican church.
Okay. Which is quite relaxed.
Yeah, a lot more relaxed. And they brought us up in the Anglican faith, and over the years that became kind of less and less a part of our lives. So I guess you could say I was brought up with, quite a strict kind of set of beliefs around what God was.
Right.
And that God was kind of always watching and...
Which is scary.
Yeah, and was more of a kind of judging your behaviour, and certain things were right and certain things were wrong, and that was it. There was no discussion about it. That was just what it was.
Wow. So were you one of the families like you'd sit at the table and say grace every night? And
Yeah, definitely up until our teenage years when things became a lot more kind of relaxed.
Yeah, and you went to church every Sunday and
for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was my kind of first introduction, I guess, to a God. But, I think as a child I just believed what I was told.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you do, yeah.
And as I say, that definitely got a bit more relaxed as I got older, and we as a family kind of strayed from religion altogether.
So when did you personally, as a child or teenager, start questioning whether what you'd been led to believe was...
I think similar to a lot of people's stories, I think when I got to about 13, it just stopped being important to me. And my attention went to other places, and it's just not something that I even really thought about, and our family changed. My parents divorced when I was 7, and my mother remarried, and we moved to another country, and there were some really drastic family changes, and just my attention was just in another place, really.
Yeah. So when you were younger, did you ever feel connected to that religion? So you did.
I think so. I think my mother especially really tried to instill a belief that there was, that God was good. And she would say prayers with us at night and sweet little things like that. And I just think, as I say, it just stopped becoming important, and I stopped even looking for that kind of connection. And I was very much more concerned about what was going on around me. So it wasn't until many years down the track that I needed to find a connection with a higher power, something bigger than myself for guidance, that I kind of reconnected with anything to do with spirituality.
Wow. So what was it that sort of tested your belief and made you sort of rediscover spirituality? And how old were you when?
Well, it was probably, in my late 20s, early 30s, when life got a little bit difficult for me. At that time, I had done my nursing degree and I was working as a registered nurse. I'd moved over to Sydney and I was working there. And I had my OE, did lots of travel, all of that. A lot of life was happening. But I also found that I was constantly kind of looking for happiness in a new job, a new relationship.
Yeah.
I was looking for happiness in people, places and things, and the life that I had dreamt of as a little girl, the life that I wanted, was just not coming to fruition for me.
Yeah.
It just wasn't happening.
And that's often when people start to look for more, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're kind of like doing everything you thought you were meant to do and living life as you've seen it, and following all the rules kind of, and then you're still sort of searching. You feel like you're lacking something.
That's it. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's quite hard to put into words because it's messy. Life is messy.
Yeah.
And there was definitely not one specific moment where I thought, right, my life's got to change. There were a few aha moments, but it was really it was really over a period of 10 years where life was happening, and I was, there were good times, but the lows were getting just a little bit low. My relationships weren't working out. I would move to a new place, and that wasn't what I was looking for. So there was this search for me going on, and I needed more, and I just couldn't find it in the material world that was around me.
Yeah, I remember someone telling me once that they were hungry for something, but they didn't know what it was. And it was like a hunger that they couldn't sort of get rid of. Any means.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And I guess another thing to be aware of for me was I was unable to kind of express it. I think I was brought up in a family where, and quite an idealistic mother. She was wonderful, and I love my mum, but we didn't talk about emotions a lot. And so I think I just
held everything.
I held everything back, and I had these feelings going on, but I just couldn't really pinpoint them. And I wasn't really willing to discuss them with anyone. I wasn't really willing to get real.
Oh wow. So you were holding in so many feelings from basically your whole life.
Absolutely.
That you hadn't let out. It's so interesting, how important it is to let old emotions out and to let old experiences go.
Yeah.
And when we hold them in, it can be really devastating, like holding in tears and...
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think for me that kind of manifested in hiding my emotions with humour, hiding my emotions in perhaps an outward personality that I thought people wanted to see, or even hiding them with a substance. Alcohol and drinking became a real issue for me around that time. And that kind of worked for me to a degree because it was a comfort, and it allowed me to sort of dull those feelings and also to have a break from how I was feeling, that confused kind of, why isn't everything working for me state.
As a way of numbing,
As a way of just numbing that. But eventually, those feelings come home to roost, and you have to face them at some point. And that's really where I sort of got to. I got to a place of thinking, I can't just change what's outwardly, what's around me in my life at the moment. I can't go outward. I've got to go inward and find out why I'm not feeling happy and peaceful and So it was really a matter of not doing a geographical, not moving, not finding a new job. It was actually a time for me to just go inward and really think about what I wanted to do and what would make me happy, and really get authentic.
And learning to know yourself and who you are, who you aren't, and I know what you mean. I've had that sort of need at certain times where you kind of realise, oh look, I need to go inside and actually figure out what the issue is, and stop using whatever it is, like a new pair of shoes or a new, like a cupcake to make you feel better.
Definitely. And I hear people talk about this a lot. Finding your real identity is often a process of elimination.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Finding out who you are not in order to find who you are.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to try new things all the time. And it's like, do I like it? No. I'm terrible at it and I don't like it. And now we can cross that off the list and move on.
Yeah, exactly. So for me at that time, I really became aware that my entire mindset needed to change. And I needed to be in a place where I could express myself, and I needed support. So I sought that support, and I learned to sit with my feelings. I learned to kind of check in with myself and become aware of what I was holding on to, what resentments did I still have, past traumas, had I dealt with them, all of those things. I really learned that I had to examine that stuff.
Yeah, and let it all...
And deal with it. And then make amends or do whatever I had to do to process all of that, and then be able to move forward in my life. If that makes sense. Absolutely. Sounds all very airy-fairy, I guess, but...
it makes so much sense.
Yeah,
because these things, there's so many belief systems, and especially like alternative spiritual healing, where they say that old emotions and old experiences stay in your body and they'll manifest somewhere in your body. So if you hold on to any pain associated with anything, it can manifest in your knee or your heart or your lungs or your stomach. I remember Louise Hay saying that she had been through severe sexual abuse, and so she got a cancer, like a reproductive cancer, and she knew in her heart that it was actually a lot to do with holding pain in that area, and she went through huge healing processes of letting go of the events and the trauma, and she believes that she helped heal her cancer through not just the physical healing process, but emotional healing process as well. So it is so important to be able to let out all those experiences. It is. And for me, it took a huge amount of courage to do that, because I was very much this sort of do not air your dirty laundry type of person. Yeah. And that was the only way I knew. I didn't know how to live another way. Yeah. So it took a lot of courage, and it took a lot of surrender. Yeah. Just kind of, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Just surrendering and believing that the universe and the community around me, whoever I sought help from, would help and would just show me some love and compassion. And you've actually got to be able to ask for help, and that can take a lot of courage as well, when you are in that way and you have never asked for help and you've never admitted you need help. It's incredibly hard to actually, and it's an amazing first step just to say, look, I'm not okay and I need support. Absolutely. That's huge. Yeah, and I think as women we I don't know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Oh, absolutely. To be able to achieve absolutely everything and keep it all, keeping up with the Joneses, keep that that mask. Yeah, and just keep on keeping on. There's a song by an amazing singer called Lara Lynn, and in the song there's a line where she says, and we all know a woman can take a lot, or something like that, and it's just so true, because we just take and just sort of harden ourselves and keep on taking more.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just quite incredible how much women can take, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. And when when you do go through that process of allowing yourself, of surrendering and trusting the universe and trusting those around you that you will be supported, it happens.
It does. Yeah, it's amazing.
And that was amazing for me. And so, that wasn't so long ago. It was a few years ago now, but that's really what happened for me. I sort of had to start again, and anyone can start their life all over again. It's a process that's completely possible.
Yeah. It's just a choice, I guess, isn't it?
It's a choice.
You just go, this isn't working for me how I'm currently doing it.
Yeah.
I need to make a change.
Yeah. So in that process, I came home to New Zealand, and I had some time off.
So you were in Australia before that?
Yeah. I had some time off, and I had some time with my family, and I just got a lot of support, and I just kind of decided to start living again from a much more authentic place. And that's led me to today. Huge amount of change, and it's definitely a process, and there's never a time where you get to a place and think, right, everything's fixed now, my life's perfect now. It's
totally a work in progress.
Totally. But now in my life, I just have a different mindset. I have real connections, I have real friends that I'm able to talk with honestly about how I'm feeling.
Not just like party friends who you see out and stuff. And
I have an identity, like I know who I am today. I have a purpose in my life. I have choices. I have control, autonomy, connection, health. All of those things that are a foundation to a much better life for me today.
So in that process, what was your sort of spiritual system that kept you in check? Were you connecting to like a higher power that was kind of you were trusting in, or was it an actual like religion?
So I definitely had to do a bit of soul searching, and for me I reconnected with God. Just a slightly less disciplinary God than perhaps I was taught about as a child. So I kind of went back to, I guess, my Christian roots in a way. And then I got really, I sort of got back into nature and got connected with nature again. How else? It's very difficult to describe. How else can I describe it? So it was just,
you did sort of, you had this higher power that you felt was supporting you.
I just had a higher power that I just reconnected with and got a relationship with again through kind of meditation, through prayer.
Yeah. And it makes you feel connected, doesn't it? Like, when you find yourself in positions where you might be physically alone, knowing that there is that higher power, there is like an entity, and we're all connected. It really does. It's like someone's actually with you all the time, giving you a hug.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, from that time in my life, I had a lot of new relationships. So I met a lot of new friends, and I kind of built a whole new community around me that was part of my higher power as well. I think that the term higher power can be from multiple sources.
I think so.
Doesn't just have to be one God.
No. Yeah, I see it as like just basically a term for all gods.
Yeah.
Whoever you are connected to, whatever source energy you choose to connect to, and whatever name you give it, it's all kind of the same thing, isn't it? It's all just a higher power of sorts.
Absolutely.
Some people call it to the universe, or source energy, or source power, or God, or whatever.
Yeah, and I think we're all allowed to have our own beliefs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's cool. So this has all continued on into your adulthood. How did the law of attraction come into it? Like, where did you discover the law of attraction manifesting as a way of sort of helping you stay in a place where you want to be?
I think, once I went through this process and decided to start living from a much more authentic place, I was much more open and willing to just go with the flow of the universe. I didn't want to be this person that kind of rushed my way and fought my way through life looking for the next buzz, looking for the next high, the next place, the next thing. I just wanted to kind of go with the flow more. And because I was in that place, these things just became available to me. I also started, reading a lot of books, and my whole kind of mindset changed. And I was just very open to new things and learning about a new way of life. And I wanted to be, I wanted my life to flow a lot more. And that's when I became aware of things like that. I guess the first thing was, when you're grounded and authentic and coming from an honest place, I noticed that what you ask for, you can receive.
Totally. And when you know who you are, you know what kind of people you want to attract and what kind of experiences you want to attract, and then it just keeps coming as soon as you sort of really tap into who you really are and what you want from a place of, inside you, instead of thinking that you want things that you've been told you want all your life. It is really amazing how it's just like a switch is flicked. And suddenly it all makes sense, and you know who you are and what you want, and then those things just start coming. And that's, I guess, the fundamentals of the law of attraction, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And just, being really open to opportunities, saying yes a lot more.
So is that how you came to be an actress?
So, my whole life I had wanted to be involved with acting and dance. But it just had never, I was brought up in a family. My mother's a scientist, my sister's a GP, and then I became a nurse. And nursing's one of those careers that just completely takes over. It's shift work and exhaustion. It's a wonderful job, but it's very time demanding. So when I sort of started again, I decided that I was actually going to make time for all the things I'd always wanted to do. So, that's how...
I guess it's you starting afresh. You're like, you know what? This is my life. I'm going to do with it what I want to do. I
really wanted to have balance, and I still wanted to be nursing. So I took a job as a support worker, which gave me the flexibility to go off and do creative projects.
That's cool.
So in terms of acting, I had an audition for a film school film and with the Wellington Film School, and I got that role, and since then it's just
so
kept
you
happening.
Pretty much just woke up in the morning and said, you know what, all my life I've wanted to do this,
and applied for a job.
I've never let myself do it for some reason or other, like some internal belief system, and you just applied and got the part. That's so cool.
Absolutely. And you take one role like that and you meet other people and other opportunities come, and I ended up getting an agent, and I ended up having a Star Now profile, and things just kept happening.
That's so cool. So how was it? Did it just sort of start? Like you just basically, a spark went and you...
I just thought I've wanted to do this all my life. I'm going to do it.
That's fantastic. And it's amazing how the universe responds. Like when you make one small step towards that, and you've actually had this calling for so long, the universe has been sort of whispering in your ear for so long that, this is what you should do. And it's incredible. As soon as we go, okay, I will, and then it all just sort of falls into place.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. So now you've done countless films and all sorts of things.
I've been very lucky. I think I've done about 7 or 8 short films.
Wow.
Just finished a really fun comedy feature film with Red Face Pictures.
That's very cool.
And I have been lucky enough to do quite a lot of voice work. So I've done some voice work for radio, and I'm looking at doing some documentary voiceovers and keeping on in that line. So
that's amazing. So how long have you been acting for now?
So just over 2 years now.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So how do you use the law of attraction in like your work and your day-to-day life? Do you?
Definitely. For me, I think there's 2 ways of looking at the law of attraction. One way, I think there's 2 ways of that people see it. A lot of people think, oh God, law of attraction, that airy fairy garbage. But there's also a very pragmatic way of looking at it. You know, the vibe that you put out, you get back. You put yourself in the right place to get the opportunities you want, then you'll get them. You're not going to if you're not there.
That's right.
You know, so I guess I just look at it very pragmatically.
And I guess it is sort of, in a day-to-day sense, it can just be as simple as someone gives you an opportunity and you take it, instead of being like, I'm not allowed that, I don't deserve that, and you know, self-sabotaging and not letting yourself have it. So
yeah, definitely. Self-sabotage is huge.
Yes.
Or that fear of taking an opportunity, or what if I fail, or what if I succeed?
And it's so easy to just stop yourself and be like, oh no, yeah.
So for me, especially with the whole film industry and acting, it was really just a matter of, with my newfound confidence and with my newfound mindset, it was like, you know what, I'm just going to say yes. I'm going to see where this takes me.
And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and the more you do that, the easier it becomes. And, you know, your self-confidence increases every time.
Yeah.
You take an opportunity that's a bit of a challenge.
Totally.
And just that self-belief that kind of kept increasing. And, you know, then it sort of developed into a real passion for me. So now I want to be constantly attending acting classes, and I want to be working, and it's, I guess, the law of attraction. It's just worked for me in that way, but just by putting myself in the right place at the right time and taking a risk.
Yeah.
Taking a risk of sometimes looking a bit stupid or getting it wrong in an audition, and walking away thinking, oh, well, I gave it a go.
Yeah.
With that lightness in your heart.
Yes, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just choosing to I guess, kind of like it's a guideline in a way that keeps it all light, keeps you trusting in something bigger than you. Yeah. It's very helpful. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at today. You know, I can easily slip back into my old mindset. This mindset that I have now is, you know, it's a discipline.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't take for granted, and it's not like I'm a different person. I'm the same person. I just try and live my life from a really authentic place. Totally. And that's worked incredibly well for me. But, you know, it's a process, and I'm constantly learning and constantly evolving. Whereas before, I was very much stuck.
Wow.
So it's been hate to use the word journey, but it's been an amazing journey. That's kind of where I'm at today.
Oh, journey's a great word. It can be a bit sort of...
Well, it's a better word than destination, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. It implies an ongoing path.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the whole thing about life, eh? It's ongoing, and you just got to follow your curiosities and enjoy the process.
Yeah, find joy in the process.
In the process, yes.
Absolutely. Instead of constantly thinking the next person, place or thing will be it.
Yeah, that'll make me feel good about myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next outward source of approval will make me worthwhile.
Yeah.
Really it all comes from within. You've got to think you are worthwhile yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a process of not going out, you know, going inwards.
Going inwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering my questions. It was very fun. Very enlightening.
Thank you.
Cool. So next week we will continue on the discussion around self-sabotage, which is quite a common thing. So many of us do it. We all do it at times. And it's just about, you know, recognizing what self-sabotage is and then figuring out how to stop yourself from doing it and why you're doing it. So yeah, we will be back next week, episode 3, to look at self-sabotage. Bye everyone.
Bye everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us for episode 2 of Into the Vortex. Next week we'll start our regular episodes, and our first topic that we're going to discuss in episode 3 is self-sabotage. Have you ever procrastinated on an assignment or found yourself downing a cheeseburger just before a 5k race? Yep, I've done that. Well, then you might be familiar with self-sabotage. But why do we do it? What makes us do things that are blatantly detrimental to our goals? So join us next week to learn more about self-sabotage and the reasons that we as human beings use it as a form of self-preservation. See you next week. Bye.